on Circle Theater, brought to you by the Armstrong Cork Company.
Durango, Mexico. Midway between the Texas border and Mexico City.
Ortega, suppose I owed you $150. Which you rather have? A United States Treasury check? Or three $50 bills?
I would rather have the check.
Why?
The bills could be counterfeit.
But you wouldn't worry about the check?
Of course not. A U.S. government check is as good as gold.
It's better than gold. There's more around. The government puts out 1 million a day. 350 million checks a year. Why, back in the States, everybody takes them. Grocery stores, package stores, bars. Nobody looks at them twice. No more than if there was change in quarters. Ortega, we could make ourselves some of that gold.
Where?
Right here. The United States government don't snoop around in Mexico. I take care of the printing. You give me protection, and I'll pay you your regular cut.
Like printing money, eh?
Easier. It's a lot easier to print a check than it is a $5 bill, and you get a lot more for it.
And what is the competition from the others who counterfeit these checks?
No competition. As far as I know, we'd be the only ones. We'll make $1 million.
Arthur Henry Moline, American citizen, had an arrest record which included kidnapping, rape, and murder, but no convictions. This printing plant in Durango, Mexico, had already played a part in Moline's many business interests, all illegal.
Everybody working late tonight?
No. Everyone else is gone home. We are just trying to get ahead on the rush job.
Oiga, muchacho. Vaya a casa.
Why did you tell the boy to go home? He's not finished with his work yet.
Oh, we can finish tomorrow. We don't want him around right now.
Well, you want to get us in a little poker game, huh?
Oh, maybe later. What I want right now is some of your expert advice. You ever see one of these before?
U.S. government check, of course.
Well, tell me now, just how hard would it be to print up a batch? Well, not near so hard as printing money, could it be?
No, but it would be harder than when we made driver's license and credit cards.
Just give me an idea how fellas go about it.
Let me see. You would need 4 plates. 2 for the tinted background on each side and 2 for the letterpress printing.
Okay.
Well, you could copy the letters and their signatures by photo engraving. And maybe the seal, too. But for the background design, this word Treasury interwoven all through, you would need an artist to draw it.
Well, Cadena, they did a great job on the driver's licenses. I bet you do this, too, if you tell him to.
Maybe he would, but, my friend, I don't want any part in this.
How can you call me your friend and turn me down before I even finish my proposition?
Well, I can't do this for you.
Why?
Because after the trouble with the licenses...
I got you out of that, didn't I?
I swore to my father it wouldn't happen again.
Well, now, you could work in the plant when it's closed. At night, weekends, your father wouldn't have to know a thing about it.
And if I'm caught?
How can you get caught? Those checks are going to be clear over the border.
Well, they'll trace me when they catch you.
How they're going to catch me?
When you pass the checks.
When I pass the check? I don't have time to pass the checks. I won't even sell to the passers. I'm going to deal with the middleman, distributors. Everyone known personally to me as a real stand-up man. Now, do you follow what I mean when I say that?
No.
I mean a man who, if he's caught, he stands up. He don't talk, he don't testify. He takes his rap, but he won't name names. So how in the world are they going to get to me?
I'm sorry, but I swore to my father.
You won't even let me tell you what you're going to get out of this.
Well, I don't want to hear it,
Oh, you'll hear it all right. Cadena, you stay right where you are. You hear me good? You hear me now, boy? Answer me, boy.
See.
I'm going to say this just once. I want these checks made, and I want you to make them. Did I say it enough?
See.
Did you hear me this time?
Ease my hand, huh?
We're going to stay friends, ain't we?
See.
Oh, you're going to get $2 a check, amigo. That's what I said. Why, once we get rolling, you could be a millionaire. Now, don't that make your hand feel better?
For the pantograph background of the counterfeit checks, the artist drew one U.S. Treasury segment. Duplicates of the segment were put together to form an oversized design, which was reduced photographically to the exact size of the check. This step concealed minor flaws in the drawing. A plate was then made for the face of the check. It was placed on a lithograph machine, which was used to print the background of the checks. Inks were mixed carefully in an effort to obtain the precise shade of blue. This was one of the most difficult and critical steps of the counterfeiting operation. The block print on both sides was copied by Francisco Gutierrez with the aid of a photo engraver's camera. The actual printing was done in 4 steps, 2 for each side of the check. The business machine perforations were made laboriously with an ordinary 2-hole punch converted to cut rectangular holes instead of round. Names, addresses, and amounts were done on a standard typewriter.
Philip A. Miles, Route 12, Box 3000, Morrissey, Alabama. That's Morrisscy. That's $146.20. You make 250 checks like that. You make the rest out to John B. Williams, Post Office Box 9420, Honeywell, Louisiana. $164.11. I want all 500 checks finished and ready by Saturday.
Saturday?
What I said, full day's drive to the border, and I want to go through customs Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon in a Mexican city of any size is devoted to the bullfight. In border towns such as Nuevo Laredo, the bull rings are crowded with thousands of Americans who drive over for the spectacle and drive back immediately afterwards. With long lines of impatient motorists waiting at the border, customs inspection is necessarily brief. Moline timed his crossing attempt for the height of the rush hour and brought a woman along to lend a holiday air.
American citizens?
Yes, sir. Drove over this morning, taking a bullfight.
You bringing any merchandise back with you?
Well, just a couple of bottles of tequila is all. Cost me $3.30.
All right, go ahead.
Under the tequila were 500 counterfeit checks. On the following night, Moline arrived at this Crossroads Motel near Bristol, Louisiana, where he had called a meeting of men known to him personally. Present were these 4 stand-up men, all with criminal records. Walter Nye, swindler, car thief, gambler, parole violator. Clarence Hollis, burglar, armed robber, once acquitted of assault with a deadly weapon. Dorsey Ulmer, con man, marijuana peddler, procurer, finger man for safe burglars. Bennett Ulmer, Dorsey's uncle, owner of the motel. White slaver, dealer in stolen cars, twice convicted of assault.
Hello, Bennett.
Well, what you got for us this time, Arthur?
Oh, Dorsey.
Yeah, Arthur.
Get lost.
What do you mean, get lost?
I don't want you in on this.
Well, you called me in yourself. You phoned me and had me to come all the way over here.
I found out you got arrested last week. You and that girlfriend of yours on a marijuana charge. Ain't that right, boy?
I'm free on bond.
Oh, you got too much hanging over you, Dorsey. You get grabbed on a new charge, you'll have to make a deal with the law and turn me in.
I wouldn't do that, Arthur. Now, you know I'd stand up.
Well, I ain't taking that chance.
Uncle Ben, now that's not
You never
right.
mind your uncle, boy. You got about 3 seconds to get out of here. All right. Well, now, I got something new for you.
You stole all them checks.
Nobody stole them. I had them made.
Counterfeit government check? It's about like a real thing to me.
Pretty close.
Man, have to have identification, though.
We print an identification for you. Driver's licenses, credit cards, the same names, the names on the checks. What do you think?
Not bad. I wouldn't mind passing a few myself.
Well, I don't want passes. I want distributors. The idea is, say, you buy 100 of these from me at $20 a check. And you go out, you find your own passes, you charge whatever you can get. Say you pay me $2,000. You ought to be able to collect $4,000. Are you interested?
Not me. I haven't got $2,000 to give you.
Hollis, don't you think I figure that? All you got to do is pay me, say, 25% down, the rest when you collect from your passes. Make you feel better?
Not me. Suppose I couldn't collect from my passes. You're going to come to me for the balance. And, Arthur, I just wouldn't feel healthy to be owing you money.
Or those silent partners of yours either.
What's the matter with you two? You want to be cheap crooks all your born days? Hell, I'll offer you $1 million proposition. You ain't got the guts to take it.
Arthur, how many checks you got here?
500.
I'll handle them all.
Well, now, that separates the men from the boys. All right, boys, you can go now.
Say, could we, just buy a couple of dozen to pass ourselves?
You're buying from Bennett. He got the local franchise.
$40 a check, boys.
We just have to get some cash. We'll come back later.
You do that.
$2,500 down, okay?
Okay.
Now, Arthur, how do I get some more checks when these is gone?
Well, first you make sure you pay the balance on this batch first, hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Now, you let me know when you want more, and I'll arrange for you to come down and pick them up.
Where?
Durango. You drive down, you go to the hotel. Have somebody take care of you.
You mean I gotta go all the way to Durango and haul this stuff myself?
Well, I ain't gonna haul it for you, Ben. You just one distributor in the territory. I'm setting up other men in other territories from Texas, clear east Atlantic Ocean, as far north as we can spread. Now, each distributor supplies his own operation. I'm gonna have this thing working so smooth that I won't have to lay a hand to it myself. Oh, except to this, that is. Adios, amigo.
Who is it?
It's Dorsey, Uncle Ben. I've got to see you.
You been hanging around back there?
Only for just a minute. Uncle Ben, I couldn't help hearing something about passing Treasury checks.
And?
And he came out to the car where I was sitting and told me, and I said it must be some good deal.
Well, what you want?
Well, I want to pass some of those checks, Uncle Ben.
Boy, you in enough trouble as it is.
Well, maybe I can get out of trouble if you would help me. Just a little.
Just a little how?
Ben, I was talking to a lawyer today, and he's a real good lawyer. And he said he thinks maybe he can get us off our marijuana charge, but first, he wants a $5,000 retainer.
Hey.
Now, Ben, if Dorsey could work some of those checks, well, maybe he could raise the money.
Well, you just better get up some other how, boy. Moline don't want you in on this.
Ben, aren't you this boy's blood kin?
Oh, my.
Well, we're on a narcotics charge.
Yeah, and we ain't got but $1,000 between us.
You got $1,000?
Yeah? What good is that?
Well, I tell you what, good boy. After all, I am your uncle. I'm going to let you have some of these checks for the same price they cost me.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
$50 apiece.
The first of the counterfeit checks was cashed in a food market in Hillside, Florida by Dorsey Ulmer, carrying counterfeit identification in the name of Philip A. Miles. With Charlotte Cable sometimes posing as his wife, Ulmer worked supermarkets across northern Florida, netting an average of $130 at each after purchases. Clarence Hollis, using both identities, victimized the owners of restaurants, package stores, and service stations. Walter Nye, posing as John B. Williams, specialized in clothing stores.
Those are for Phillips in Texas. These are for Gautreaux, Louisiana. These are for Bender from Georgia. He should be down today to get those, so you get those over the hotel right away. They'll be picked up tonight.
Some of these men are new distributors. Do you know who will be passing their checks?
It don't matter. Their passes don't know anything about you and me. If they get caught, that's their own headaches.
The new passers joining Moline's ring cashed the counterfeit checks in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Texas. Everywhere the story was the same. Clerks and merchants, anxious not to lose a sale, scarcely looked at the bogus checks before handing over good money for them. The small storekeeper was the ultimate loser. But if human beings were unwary, machines were not. Each counterfeit was detected by the tabulating equipment at the nearest branch of the Federal Reserve Bank. On April 30th, 2 days after it was passed, the first counterfeit was sent to the district field office of the United States Secret Service in New Orleans. The Secret Service, law enforcement agency of the Treasury Department, was established at the close of the Civil War because at that time 1/3 of the currency in circulation was counterfeit. Today, the primary function of the Secret Service is to protect the President of the United States, but it continues to investigate all counterfeiting and forgery of government obligations and securities.
Mason, I think you better take a look at this.
Another forged endorsement?
No, sir.
Counterfeit. Fairly deceptive job.
Yes, sir. I had to look twice. I'd never seen a counterfeit government check before.
Well, neither did I. Is this the only one that's come through?
Yes, sir, so far.
Well, judging from the quality of that check, there'll be more. I'll notify Washington. You go to Hillside and see if you can get a description of the passer.
During the next few days, special agents of the Secret Service went to all stores where the checks had been passed, seeking descriptions of the thieves. The one clear conclusion: a large-scale ring of counterfeiters was in operation.
Confidential warning notice headed, "Please do not publicize." Counterfeit U.S. Treasury checks have been received, made payable to Philip A. Miles or John B. Williams, bearing symbol 9005. It's a fairly deceptive counterfeit. The pantograph background is a light blue, not as rich as the genuine. The printing leans to gray instead of bold black. The business machine perforations are not clearly cut and slant to one side as if hand-punched.
The warning notice went out to police departments, banks, and a few selected merchants in the affected area. It was marked confidential to avoid alerting the thieves. Result?
Mason? Oh, hello, Lieutenant Wilson. Yes, go ahead.
The Secret Service is a relatively small organization which relies heavily on the cooperation of state and local police. In this case, cooperation was prompt and effective.
A man presented a government check in a meat market in Clary. Now, the owner had our circular and got suspicious. The man left without cashing the check. Owner followed him to the door, saw him get into a pink convertible with a dent in the right front fender, and notified the police. One of the detectives remembered they had a man in with a car like that 2 weeks ago on a marijuana charge.
You have a description?
That's right here. Age 27, height 6 feet, weight 150. Sallow complexion, dark hair, nervous mannerisms.
You know that could be the passer that worked Hillside, Newton, and Perry?
Call Lieutenant Wilson to see if he can pick him up.
Dorsey Ulmer was arrested within 24 hours and taken to the local police precinct where he awaited further questioning.
Now, my name is Donaldson. I'm from the Secret Service. Now, we got 3 witnesses who positively identify you, Dorsey, as cashing counterfeit Treasury checks. Dorsey, you're also up on a narcotics charge. You're in plenty of trouble.
Yes, I know it.
Well, you've been advised of your rights. You're going to cooperate with us?
I sure will, Mr. Donaldson. I'll cooperate in any way I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the first way might be to tell us where you got those checks, huh?
Yes, I sure will. Where I got them was, I got them from a man I met in a bar.
You know his name?
Well, no, he didn't tell me his name.
You know where he got the checks?
Well, he didn't tell me exactly, but from the conversation, I could make a pretty good guess.
Well?
From a man who was in the same cell with him when he was in the state prison. Either that, or from another man in Kentucky, a real hillbilly back in the mountains, makes moonshine and a lot of things. Else must have been from a sailor off a ship in Mobile.
Thanks, Dorsey. You've been a great help.
Dorsey Ulmer stood up, squarely blocking the main line to Moline and the source of the checks. But Charlotte Cable opened another path.
Okay, Ben, make it fast. I left my motor running. What's on your mind?
I've been to see Dorsey in jail.
Well, you are good, Uncle.
Now, you listen here to me, Miss Smarty Pants. He bought 20 checks from me. He told me that 8 of them he passed. One he had with him when he was grabbed, that's 9. And he said he left the other 11 with you. Now, where are they?
I got him.
Charlotte, them checks are too hot to pass around here anymore. Listen here, everybody else has took what they got left and they destroyed theirs. Now, you better destroy yours.
Well, then why don't you buy them back from me, Ben? Then you can do whatever you want to do with them, and I'll have some more money to pay my lawyer to get me off my narcotics charge.
Well, now, you think I'm going to take the loss?
Well, why should we take it?
Well, that's the chance you took when you bought them checks, and you got your money back out of the ones you passed. Now, you listen here to me, Charlotte. Old Dorsey said for you to destroy them checks.
All right, Ben.
Now, burn them, Charlotte.
All right, I will.
Yeah? Oh, what, again? Okay, room free, yeah. They don't know how to work the air conditioner. I'll be right back. Now, Charlotte, you burn them checks right now. You hear me?
Following the arrest of Dorsey Ulmer, Charlotte Cable worked part-time as a waitress in a small bar near Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and full-time at trying to sell the 11 checks still in her possession.
I get it. Keep the change, honey.
Woo! It takes a stranger to appreciate me.
Don't needle a local talent. How are they going to get prosperous? I can't do business here.
You looking to do business?
Maybe.
Why don't you say so before? Jack's over.
Beats me.
Well, maybe we got a deal for you. Mind standing up first? Keep clean. Name's Victor, Well, Victor, what kind of deal you looking for?
I'll let you know in a minute. Now, look. We're walking down the street together. And this cop decides to give us a tumble for laughs. I'm clean. He finds this on you. And he pulls us both in. Deals with you, stupid.
Don't sell this place short, because there's 1 or 2 good deals around.
Like what? Stolen government checks?
Not stolen, counterfeit. See what a good job it is? And for identification, there's a credit card and a driver's license that looks just as good.
Honey, I'm not interested in paper hanging.
Okay, forget I said anything.
I got some friends in New York, though. They could be.
I had you figured for New York.
How many of these you got?
11. And you can have them for $50 apiece.
25.
Forget I said anything.
Many of my friends wouldn't even look at 11 checks, except as samples. When they buy big.
Well, if you put it that way, you got $275?
Got the checks? My friends go for this. Can you put them in touch with your suppliers?
Are you kidding? Honey, if they buy from me.
I didn't say keep the change.
Ooh. Well, I didn't know you ever worried about change. You being New Yorkers.
The New Yorker was an agent of the Secret Service acting on the possibility that Charlotte Cable, as a known associate of Dorsey Ulmer, might provide a lead to the source of the counterfeit checks.
These are part of the original batch. There are more checks turning up now. They have different names on them. But it's the same printing job, the same counterfeiters. Now, Charlotte is the only lead we've got.
Other known associates of Dorsey's mixed up in the ring?
Yeah, two of his old pals, Hollis and Nye. They're both identified as passers from their pictures, but we can't find them. But we have an idea that something frightened them and they took off.
Okay, we'll stay with Charlotte. She's our best bet.
Why don't you wait a week, huh? And tell her that your friends want to buy 200 more. That ought to send her running to a supplier.
Well, all right. I didn't burn the checks.
But I told you to.
But, Ben, those checks are in New York where they can't do us any harm. And besides, look at the big order I got out of it.
Well, yeah, it's a good-sized order.
Well, Ben, you're going to have to level with me this time on price because that's a shrewd outfit in New York and they're not going to pay more than $25 a check.
Well, I'll see what I can do. I have to see Moline. I'll let you know.
Well, I ain't worried about the price, Ben. Price ain't no problem.
Well, what is it?
Time is. We lost a lot of time making up a new batch of checks with driver's licenses and credit cards to go with them. We can only turn out so many to clip working nights and weekends. We got a lot of people waiting on us. There's two of them right there.
You mean Hollis and Nye?
That's right.
You selling direct to passers now?
No, sir. They ain't passers no more, those boys. Why, they got themselves a hot connection with the El Paso outfit. They brought me a whole new idea for distributing. You know what they're going to do? They're going to work the big military bases in the South, places like Randolph Air Force Base. You know how many government checks get cashed in a single day around a big military base?
Arthur, you trying to tell me you're getting too big to deal with me anymore?
Not exactly, but, well, I got a whole list of distributors like you, Ben. Where you are on that list is you on the bottom.
Why am I?
Because you went and sold checks to Dorsey when I told you not to.
Well, now, Arthur, he's my nephew. Dorsey didn't do you no harm. Dorsey stood up, didn't he? Poor Dorsey, there he was, even in jail, he was looking out for you. Why didn't he have me tell Charlotte to burn them 11 checks he left with her? And she did burn them, I saw.
Well, all right, Bennett. You get your checks after a while.
What? How long is it going to take?
Not too long, amigo. I'll let you know.
Well,
So?
won't be long now, so let me know.
Sure he will.
He said so.
Listen, I'm beginning to think there are no more checks and this is a stall.
No, it is not a stall.
Then why can't you get the checks for me now?
Because the plant is busy printing for somebody else.
For who?
Well, I don't know.
You think I'm going to hang around this hole forever?
Well, what you want me to do, print them myself?
Okay. Forget I said anything.
They're stalling because they're suspicious. They want time to check up on Victor.
Well, it isn't impossible. But I'd go along with the idea that their plant has a limited capacity. They can't get rid of the bills because they're busy printing for somebody else. Now, that sounds reasonable.
Vic, have you any idea who this somebody else might be?
No idea.
Would Charlotte know?
I doubt it. She's a little on the greedy side. If she was any higher up in the ring, she'd try to siphon off some for herself.
Yeah. Look, if we can't put them out of business, And we can't get to the source. Isn't there some way that we could sort of slow them down?
Yes. Can we siphon off some of those checks? In other words, can we get them to print for us instead of for somebody else?
Well, the only way would be to make a more attractive deal.
Yes.
I'd try to buy 200 checks. I could make it 1,000.
Why not?
But I can't ask for any more. I'd begin to look ridiculous.
That's right. And since we don't know how big this other proposition is, we don't know how far we have to go to top it.
You mean you think an order for 1,000 checks wouldn't impress them enough?
Might not.
Raise the price.
Can't do that. When you place a larger order, you don't offer more money, you offer less.
Maybe I can suggest something. You know, profit isn't only a matter of price. Efficiency's a factor. The faster they put out the checks, the more they stand to profit. The idea is to make the deal attractive. Well, if you can't increase your price, show them how to increase their efficiency.
Well, I don't get it. If the plant can't spare the time to print you up 200 checks right now, how's it going to find time to print you up 1,000 checks right now?
I'm going to make it easier for them.
Well, now, how is 1,000 easier than 200?
Look, here's my proposition. My people like the checks fine, but they're not too happy about the names on them. Williams, Miles, maybe down here, everybody looks like a guy named Williams. But in New York, in Chicago, you got to operate with guys that look like Kosciuszko, say.
Yeah?
So, what we want is checks with a lot of different names like that on them.
And you think that my supply is going to print you up a lot of different checks with a lot of different names on them and a lot of different identification papers to match?
So, you don't have to print no names at all, no identification papers. We supply the identification papers and we fill in the names ourselves. All we want is blank checks.
Blank checks?
That's right. Everyone the same. No handwork. The machine rolls them off and they ship right out.
Well, I'll tell my supplier and see if he's interested.
He'll be interested, all right. You just tell him. His way works like a local yokel. My way goes into mass production. You tell him that. You tell him that I'm offering him to play for the jackpot. But if he wants it, he's got to make it fast.
Moline operator, that's Moline. Mr. Arthur Moline in Durango, Mexico. No, operator, that's Durango. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Fine. Now, would you please? And see how fast you can put the call through. Sometimes take 2 hours, sometimes take 2 minutes.
Take Moline about 2 seconds to grab this deal.
Let's see, Charlotte. You sure this New York bunch ain't just shooting the breeze with you?
Ben, I know they want to do business.
The only thing is, well, they're not going to pay $25 a check on this order. They only going to pay $20.
Now, who told you that you could make deals? Did you tell them we'd take 20?
No.
I swear, Charlotte,
But Ben, that's $20,000 in cash.
Cash. All cash?
All cash. You think I'd make a deal for credit? I'd have to wait for you to get paid before I got my share.
Who all coming down with this money?
Nobody. They sent it in air mail to this friend of mine.
You mean one man going to handle the whole thing?
That's right. I said I'm not meeting a bunch of people I don't know. I'm just meeting him.
Charlotte, this here man, you got any idea where this stuff come from?
Well, now, Ben, you think I'd tell him?
I just mean like it's a long way off, like it's a good-sized trip to go pick it up. You ever happen to mention anything like that to him? Did you, Charlotte?
No, I did not.
Hello? Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, this here's the party place to call in Mexico, but, operator, I changed my mind. Cancel it.
Now, Ben, what'd you do that for?
I cancel the call, not the deal. The deal's on.
Without asking Moline?
Charlotte, you know my cousin George?
Who?
George Gavin. He got a little filling station down on the highway near Mariposa Corners.
Well, I might know him, but...
Now, listen here to me, Charlotte. You can't miss the place. Ain't a house, a barn, nothing. Nowhere's in sight. You drive your friend down there and you pick up them checks, yeah?
When?
Well, how long's it going to take your friend to get the money?
Well, just about 2 days after he calls New York.
All right, you have him call, and then you have him there Wednesday night.
Well, now, Ben, can you get the checks from Moline so fast?
Never you mind Moline. This here's our deal. Why should we split any part of it, Moline?
Ben, how are you going to get the checks to hand over?
Charlotte, we don't need no checks. We're going to have one man all alone with $20,000 on him.
Mm-hmm.
All we got to do is simply take it away from him.
Wednesday, June 20th. In Washington, new victims on the Secret Service map showed the counterfeit ring to be expanding. In Louisiana, a single agent continued to search for the source.
It's here.
The whole 20,000?
Airmail special delivery.
Where is it?
In the safe at my motel. So, my end of the deal's ready?
So is mine.
Where?
Well, we have to drive up in the country a few miles.
To where?
I'll tell you when we're on our way.
What'll that be?
Now.
Now. Told you don't have the money in my pocket.
Why, can't we stop by and pick it up?
Sure, but why such short notice?
Just because you told me you were in such a powerful hurry to get back to New York.
Let's move. I better call first.
Call who?
Motel.
No calls.
I just want to ask him to keep the boss around, but open the safe. Otherwise, we'll have to wait all night.
What?
Hello, this is Mr. Victor, room 9. I want the safe open, please.
When are you leaving the bar?
Right now.
Can you stall? Give us time to put a tail on the car?
No good. Too conspicuous where I'm going.
Why? Are you going out in the back country?
Somewhere.
Somewhere out in the country in the middle of the night with no protection? Does that sound appetizing to you?
Not particularly.
Well, then find out whether they have the checks before you go.
May not be possible.
Look, if they don't have the checks, it means they're going to take you for the money. Now, make sure that isn't the case or don't go.
Fine. 2 months' work. I back out now. And what have we got to show for it?
If you don't back out, we may have a dead body.
Well, come on.
They, can't seem to find the guy.
Then why are they talking on the phone?
I was asking if somebody else knows the combination. They don't.
Stop lying. You don't want to go with me right now.
Okay. I'll level with you, Charlotte. I'll go. But I'm not taking the money along.
Why not?
I have an allergy about wandering about in the pine woods with $20,000 in my pocket. Especially when I don't know what I'm going to get for it.
What are you going to get? Checks? Checks.
Let me see the checks first, and then I'll get the money.
That's out.
In other words, you ain't got the checks to show.
Well, if that's what you think, why aren't you going back to New York?
Okay. You just gave me some good advice.
Well, go ahead, you foul ball. You lousy four-flusher. Vic! Listen, Vic, call me, will you? I mean, give me a few days first to get things straightened out, and then call me from New York. After all, this is a good deal, and nobody likes to see a good deal get away.
Sound like a good idea to me, don't it, Arthur? I mean, blank checks, and you don't have to take the time to print up identification papers. Does that sound like a good idea to you?
Ortega?
It has big possibilities, no?
Very big possibilities. I was aiming to work up to something like this, but I just didn't figure on getting there so fast.
Well, Arthur, I must have just read your mind. Because the very minute old Charlotte come to me with this here proposition, I just jumped in my car and I tore right on down here as fast as I could.
Francisco.
You got me.
How far along with those military checks?
Well, Cardenas to finish the artwork for the Defense Department ID cards.
Well, you tell them to forget about that from now. You print up a big batch of blank checks.
A week after his return to New York, the undercover agent telephoned Charlotte at the bar in Louisiana.
Hello?
Hello, Charlotte. Victor. How you doing, kid?
Hi, Vic. I'm fine, and I got some good news for you.
Yeah?
Yeah, everything's worked out. You can come down any time next week, and I'll have the stuff ready and waiting.
You mean you still haven't got the checks?
I'll have it this time for sure.
Come on, Charlotte. You're making me look like a monkey with my own guys.
No, Vic, really, All right, I'll tell you what. You give me your number, and I'll call you as soon as the stuff comes in.
Plaza 52598, room 802. It's a hotel. And don't call me until you got it like in your hands.
You think they're still trying to play tricks?
No, it's not that. They want me to play in their own backyard. If I go down there again, I'm not going to get to see anybody but Charlotte. I got to reach higher up.
Suppose you made them do some traveling. Would they trust Charlotte to go alone and bring back all that money?
No, they'd send somebody more important. But how do I make them travel? Hey, Tom. Give them a week. You think you can grow a mustache?
At the end of the week, Charlotte telephoned the hotel, reaching an undercover extension connected directly with the Secret Service office.
Vic, how are you?
You got the stuff yet?
Yeah, Vic, I got somebody here who wants to talk to you. You talk to him. He's in on the deal. His name is...
Mike.
His name is Mike. Here he is.
Hello, Victor. This is Mike. I just want you to know that we're all set down here.
Yeah, but I'm not all set up here.
Why not? Something go wrong?
Yeah, something went wrong. My people got fed up with all this stalling, so they invested their $20,000 somewhere else.
Are you telling me the deal is off?
That's what I'm telling you, unless you want to deal with somebody else.
You got somebody else?
I might have. I ran into this guy, a foreigner from South America. He's traveling with a bundle on him. He says he could take your stuff and unload it in Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. Maybe that don't sound so good to you.
Well, what's bad about it? Don't sound bad at all.
The only thing is that you'd have to get together with him real fast because he's leaving the country the day after tomorrow. That's when his ship sails, and he wants to see the goods.
Okay, bring him down tomorrow. You fly him down and back the same day.
I can't do that. He's afraid of airplanes.
He's what?
The guy's got this thing about flying, so you'd have to get together with him someplace not too far from New York.
Well, can he make Atlanta?
Too far. How about Philadelphia?
Well, that just about is New York.
Oh, Baltimore.
No, ain't much better.
Well, then where do you say? There's got to be someplace where I can take the guy by train and get him back here the same day.
Where can you make Washington?
Washington. Yeah, Washington might be okay.
Well, I don't know the town, so you name the place.
Well, might as well make it the airport. How about the insurance counter?
Okay, we ought to be there by early afternoon.
I came up from New Orleans on the New York plane, but it makes a stop at Washington at about 3. How's that?
Good enough. You just look for the man with a light-colored canvas bag.
No problem. I'll recognize Charlotte.
Charlotte won't be making the trip. You just look for the bag man.
Okay, see you then. Washington National Airport, 15 minutes from the Treasury building. I don't know how many men will be coming. Better call New Orleans and have them put an agent on that plane.
July 8th, the plane from New Orleans carried a Secret Service agent whose mission was to spot the bagman. On landing, he was to flash a prearranged signal showing whether the counterfeiter was alone. The agent carried his hat in his left hand. There were 2 men.
There's the bag man. Where's the other one?
That one, standing back, a little to one side. laying back. If we grab the bag man, he's not implicated.
Then he's the bigger fish.
Let's see if we can't hook him. How you doing? I'm Victor. Is that Mike? What do you say we quit laying back and get this thing over with?
Okay. Where's South America? Buenos dias, amigo.
Let's see the checks. Something wrong here. No holes punched in by the business machine.
Oh, well, we didn't have time to punch no holes. You can do it yourself.
Show us how.
Nothing to it. You just put the check through a little bit at a time, and you work the handle like that, that's all. See? Okay, does that do it?
That does it all right.
Secret Service, you're under arrest.
At this point, although the Secret Service had a large catch of counterfeit checks, it seemed to be no closer to the source. On July 9th, Charlotte Cable was arrested in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
I don't know what that bag was full of. I never even laid eyes on it.
What about those 11 checks you sold yourself?
Oh, I got those from Dorsey. And you got him locked up, so if you want to know, why don't you ask him?
Charlotte Cable stood up. Bennett Ulmer was held in $50,000 bond.
And I just ain't no use you asking me no more questions, because I don't know no answer.
Where'd you get the bag and the checks, huh?
Me? Well, I had an uncle die, and he left it to me in his will.
Bennett Ulmer stood up. But actually, the discovery of Bennett Ulmer as an important figure in the ring was in itself a new lead. Agents combed Ulmer's motel in search of clues. One came up with a telephone bill.
Hey, take a look at this. He was consistently placing long-distance calls to two places, Dover, Alabama, and Durango, Mexico.
The telephone number in Dover, Alabama, was traced to a bar and grill owned by Arthur Henry Moline. The name Moline also appeared in Bennett Ulmer's arrest record as a known associate. The file on Moline's telephone showed a great many calls to and from Durango, Mexico. During the last week in July, a Secret Service agent was sent from the field office in San Antonio, Texas, to Durango, Mexico. With the full cooperation of the Mexican authorities, Walter Nye and Clarence Hollis were arrested.
Now, you take those plates, all four of them. You collect all the stuff around there. Every check, every card. You don't leave a scrap in that shop, you hear me?
See, I understand. You want me to destroy everything.
I don't want you to destroy nothing. I want you to wrap it all up nice and neat and take it to Monterey and hand it over to Ortega. Now, you think you can do that easy enough?
See.
Then we're clean. We don't have a thing in the world against us.
What about Hollis and Nye?
All right, you identified me, you grabbed me. Okay, I passed the checks. What else you want to know?
Just one more thing, Hollis. Where did you get the checks?
Well, I got them from Nye.
Hall said he got 'em from me? Mm-hmm. Seems to me I got 'em from him.
Hollis and Nye stood up. By July 29th, the Secret Service had effectively halted the entire counterfeit operation. But it could not prove a case against the ringleader. For the course of Moline's criminal career, this was par, until the agent in Durango showed Moline's photograph to employees of the few printing plants in the area. The boy at the Prensa Gutierrez said that he had seen this man at the plant many times after hours, talking with Cadena, the artist, and with the boss's son. A thorough search was made to uncover any possible evidence that the printing plant was involved in turning out the counterfeit checks. A spoiled plate was found, forgotten by the counterfeiters.
I was forced to do it, I swear to you. I didn't want to, but he forced me.
You identify this as the likeness of the man for whom you printed counterfeit United States Treasury checks?
See, I do identify it.
The artist Cadena also identified the photo. Arthur Henry Moline was indicted by a federal grand jury in Texas and arrested in Alabama.
Yes, I'd like to make a statement, which is this. I hire a good lawyer, I pay him good money, I expect he knows a good way to take care of this entire matter.
Arthur Henry Moline is now serving his sentence in federal prison.